documentary looking at how claims of child sexual abuse are dealt with in Britain's Haredi Jewish community was recently featured on British television. It sparked off debate here in the UK, but how has London and its Jewish community reacted to the documentary? The documentary Britain's Hidden Child Abuse, which featured on Channel 4 on January 30th, secretly films Rabbi Ephraim Padua, leader of the Union of Orthodox Hebrew Congregations. Executive producer Tony Stark describes the documentary.
It's an investigation of the way the Charedi, or strictly Orthodox Jewish community, deal with allegations of child sexual abuse. And what we've found is, instead of rabbis advising people who come to them for advice if they feel they've been sexually abused to go to the police, they've been trying to deal with the issue themselves, discouraging people from going to the police and in some cases even forbidding them.
However, the Union of Orthodox Hebrew Congregations have refuted all claims that they refuse to take allegations of child abuse seriously, stating that they have a duty and responsibility to protect children.
Child sexual abuse unfortunately happens everywhere, but most communities, when somebody comes and says, I feel I've been sexually abused, they say, well, go and talk to the police, they will do a proper investigation, and if you have been abused, then you'll have a day in court and your abuser hopefully will be sent to jail.
Rabbi Barry Marcus of the Central Synagogue spoke to JN1 about his reaction to the documentary.
The guidelines are pretty clear now as to how we need to protect especially children and the more vulnerable in our community. There was an incident, I think, with a teacher within the United Synagogue some years ago, and I think that spurred the United Synagogue to be proactive rather than reactive, which seems to be what's going on now within the Haredi community. It doesn't make them any more guilty.
The following clip shows one of the most controversial parts of the documentary.
I've come to you, to be honest, about a very delicate issue.
What are your issue?
Someone who did bad things to me when I was younger. Someone who you may know of, who abused me, sexually abused me when I was younger, when I was a child.
I imagine I know whom you are talking, and if I'm correct, we are dealing with this.
Would you think maybe, is it a good idea to speak to the police about it? No? Why? But this is a very serious issue.
Yes, but not.
And how have people reacted?
This is a matter of concern, but I understand where it comes from. And where it comes from is that for generations, if not centuries, Jews were persecuted and kept in ghettos and kept in separate enclaves, and they dealt with their problems themselves. That doesn't condone it, and clearly, if there are such cases, then the authorities have to be notified.
I definitely think it should go to the police, definitely, because people like that shouldn't be allowed to get away with stuff.
They should discuss it with the rabbi first, and a sensible rabbi will then probably tell them to go to the police.
A criticism I felt was that the program makers didn't quite see they didn't quite understand the community dynamics. That's kind of how it works in the ultra-Orthodox community, that things are looked after in-house.
I don't think that it's appropriate to go to community leaders, because often they don't have the experience to deal with criminal activities. In the Catholic religion, lots of priests have hidden child abuse amongst themselves.
But I think that the whole idea of this particular subject to a lot of people seems an abomination that shouldn't exist.
The Union of Orthodox Hebrew Congregations has published the number of a telephone line to report instances of child abuse to rabbis who have been specially trained. Indeed, the union recognises that there are certain times when it's correct and necessary to call the social services and police. This is Celestina Olulode for JN1 in London.